is Richard Wilson of Mad Shelley Films, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto Radio.
May 6th, Friday, 2019. The 3rd. No, the 3rd. Today's the 3rd, yeah. About to hop into an Uber over here. And we're going to go for a little ride up to the... We're going to go to Philly's, and Phil's going to take me up to the Viper Room. So, this person, they say, should be here in about 2 minutes. Arriving soon. They're turning a corner somewhere. What's the first question you want me to ask these people? Give me a good question. UFOs? Should I ask them about alien abductions? Oh, let's see. They're coming along. Let's just figure out what street this is that they're coming along. Coming around that corner, or are they coming around this corner? Is that them? It says here it's a white car. That is... Oh yeah, that's not them. We're going to be playing a Viper Room tonight, another sold-out show. It's crazy how quick this is happening now. More and more and more. Just all over. Oh, there we go. Hello. Oh, here. How's everything going for you today?
Good. And you?
Great, thank you.
Going somewhere fancy?
Here, I'm going to give you one of these cards. This is a yacht rock band I'm in called Yächtlëy Crëw. And so the first Friday of every month we play at the Viper Room.
Oh, the Viper Room, yeah.
Yeah, so we're playing there tonight, and it's crazy because the shows keep getting sold out more and more and more, faster and faster. And it's really interesting to have seen how this whole thing evolved from the inside out, and just the momentum that it's been caught up in, and the effect it's had on just people showing up, and the positivity that's being stirred around, and just the amazing vibes that I've come across. Oh, it's so much fun. We got a saxophone player in there, and bassist, and percussionist, and it's it's just so much fun. We sing all 70s and 80s love songs like Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross and Lionel Richie and Hall & Oates, all those great soft rock songs.
That's awesome.
And so, the whole idea is that it's... Because there's this new genre now, basically, that's been invented called yacht rock. And all those soft rock songs, there are certain ones that are more, I guess, yacht rock than others. And I don't really know who the authority is on such things, but you'll always hear people going, oh, that's not a yacht rock song, and then someone else going, no, that's a total yacht rock song. And so there's no real authority on the whole thing, but it usually just means like those soft rock songs from back in the day. And, they would sound really good if you were on a yacht listening to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so crazy. We just got done doing Disney California Adventure for 2 months. Yeah, every Saturday and Sunday.
Cool. How'd you get that?
It was a friend of mine is like an event coordinator there, and so she just kept sending out emails to all these people at Disney, just going, "You've got to see these guys. You got to see these guys." And then she hired us to play for her husband's surprise birthday, like right there in their living room. He walked in, he's like, "What the heck? Yächtlëy Crëw's in my living room." And so there were a lot of people from Disney there too, and so they all kind of put out the word to their superiors to the higher ups, and somehow we ended up just slipping right into that slot, and it worked out so well. It was so cool because little kids could show up, which I love. I love being able to see the little kids, seeing them dancing around to this music. That's funny, like thinking that these kids are listening to this music, and as far as they know, maybe this is the first time that they've ever heard that song, and they're attributing it to us, and it's such a weird, it's such a strange thing.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Super cool.
We're having so much fun with it, and now we're starting to travel farther. Like we went out to Denver, and then we just got recently hired to do the Des Moines, Iowa, what is it? It's like the World Championship Chili Cook-Off. Doesn't it sound like something you just make up? Like, oh yeah, we're playing the Chili Cook-Off. But no, it's a real thing, and it just sounds so funny. Playing the Chili Cook-Off. Yeah, things are just, oh man, it's so fun. So what do you like to do outside of Uber? What are some of your favorite things?
Well, so I'm a lawyer, and I do mediation.
What is that?
Yeah, so like as a lawyer, usually like it's litigation, like both parties are fighting. So like the lawyer, like, you know, one lawyer is like, okay, my client's right. The other lawyer is like, my client's right. And then there's a mediator who's like, all right, let's both sit in one room. Let's mediate. Let's help both parties get what they want. Let's settle the dispute. So I help parties settle their disputes outside of court. I help parties, like a lot of corporations, handle their dispute resolution within their own like team and company. But mainly I do actual like cases that are already like in litigation or like about to go to, you know, so legal battles people are fighting, I help resolve them outside of court.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
take my card.
Is that your Sure. Is that your passion? Is that something you really enjoy doing? That is so cool to hear.
I used to do litigation and I didn't like the fighting. Like basically like litigation is like both parties fighting, saying like I'm right. So like mediation where both parties can be right and both parties can get.
You know, yeah, I like that. You know, that's so cool. It's about finding the win-win situation, finding the agreements.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, you know, ultimately, what do you get? What does anybody really get out of just being greedy and just jerks?
Yeah.
You know, both people kind of come away feeling just gross about it. So it's like, why not find something where everyone is happy and it all you know, it's cool, it's fine, it's cooperative.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you do that. You kind of smooth out the wrinkles.
Mm-hmm. And like typically, like statistically, everyone goes through some type of lawsuit. Like now it is if you live in California.
Oh yeah, you
some
can
type
turn
of
left here.
Lawsuit here.
Oh yes.
And so what's really cool is that like it speaks to almost any and everyone. Like everyone has a dispute. It's just like, what is yours? You know.
Wow. That's so interesting. How long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing it for 3 years, but my corporation, I started that this year.
Wow. That's really neat. What would be your most dream situation to be involved in?
To continue to have my corporation, but so I vision it as like the Uber of mediation. So if you need a ride, you call Uber. You need a mediator, you call Apply Consulting.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
That's my vision. And you're somewhere down here.
Oh yeah, just keep on going down this ways. I'll let you know. There's this like a fence over here. Oh yeah, this is good.
So you're performing tonight, but
Oh
not
yes.
here.
No, but not here. We're gonna just
Yeah,
perform right
this
down the
is kind of
backyard. Normally at the Viper Room, we're like, oh, let's do the cul-de-sac tonight. But yeah, the first Friday of every month. It's so much fun. It's so great. Pleasure meeting you too, and you
so
take care, and you
much.
have a great. It's awesome. It's so cool. It's so great to talk to different Uber drivers and find out like what they're passionate about and what they're excited about.
Yeah,
It's cool. You have a
you're
clear
very
vision.
Passionate about what you do.
Oh my God, it's the only way to live, really. It's the only way. All right, well, you take care. Have a good day.
It's Mr. Turetsky, and we're in Los Angeles, California, cougar hunting. And we heard that there's a viper room full of vipers. And inside, there's a majestic creature called Inspirado Projecto. It's like the unicorn of all unicorns. We're on our way there. It's raining hard. Quick, hand me the binoculars. There he is. There he is. Look at the size of those teeth. And jawline could scissor right through bone. Oh, there's a room full of vipers here. We gotta get back to cougar hunting. Oh, be careful.
So a very worried guitar goes up to a violin, and he's like, I don't know what to do, man. I'm just having a hard time. Like, this is crazy, learning this song. And the violin says, hey, man, everything is just fine. Don't fret. Don't fret.
What kind of music would you like to hear in airports? We're talking about music for airports.
Wowzers. Okay, so yesterday, while we were walking down Sunset Strip, okay, let's see, this is going to take a little bit of explaining to do. This has to do with a miraculous synchronicity, a series of synchronicities that were discovered on Sunset Boulevard, and I captured the photo. I captured the photographic evidence on my Instagram account, on the Inspirado Projecto Instagram account, which, by the way, I'm seeing more and more Inspirado Projecto followers. Thank you guys for following me on Instagram. I love being able to communicate with you guys. Maria from Strong Body, Strong Soul, she's on there. Mr. Turetsky, he's on there. Clay, she's on there. Just some great people. There are lots more of you. So make yourselves, find me. Make yourselves visible. Oh, and here's a little secret that's coming up, just as a side note. At Yächtlëy Crëw show last night, I met Kevin Allen. He's the manager of Mickey Dolenz. And there's a series of crazy synchronicities that have to do with that, which I'll most likely explain later. However, this one right now has to do with the photo that I put. This synchronicity I'm about to tell you has to do with the photo that I put onto the Inspirado Projecto Instagram. So any of you who have seen the Inspirado Projecto Twitter, Inspirado Projecto Instagram account have most likely seen me wearing, I'm wearing it all the time, the black pullover. Is that what you call it? Hoodie. Black hoodie. The Yächtlëy Crëw hoodie. And it looks like the little Jolly Roger symbol. It's a little yacht rock dude. On the, like where the heart would be on the jacket, there's the little insignia. It's a little hat, little sunglasses, little mustache, and then two oars, like they're like crossbones. So Pauly Shores, if you see how Pauly Shores looks, okay, oh gosh, I'm not sure which. While we were walking along, we're walking past these guys, and on the back hoodie, on the back of a hoodie that this guy had, it looked like a skull and crossbones, but it was done in the style, like as a parody of Breaking Bad, of the Walter White, I think that's the name, Heisenberg, with his hat, his glasses, and his goatee. Well, Pauly looked just like that. And he was wearing his hoodie that had our little insignia on it. And I'm looking at the back of the sweater, and I go, dude, can you stop right there? I got to get a photo of this. So we got a photo of Pauly looking at us, and then we got the other guy with his back to us, and Paulie's face looks just like the face on the back of the thing, and plus the Jolly Roger guy on his hoodie looks just like the Breaking Bad thing on the back of the other hoodie. I mean, it was just a crazy capture. So in addition to those synchronicities, because basically the design on the back of that one guy's hoodie was a cross between Paulie and our little yacht rock guy, our little Yächtlëy Crëw guy. So crazy. And then on top of that, what's interesting is Breaking Bad deals meth, but Yächtlëy Crëw deals yacht rocks. Interesting. We give a drug of love. We give the drug of just basically good vibes, optimism, love thy neighbor, communicate, collaborate, agreements, win-win. Win-win, folks. Win-win. Everybody can win. Everybody can win. I know this is difficult for the competitive mindsets who are like, oh, I gotta crush the competition. The vibe that you get from, quote, crushing the competition nowhere near outlasts the vibe or feels anything close to the great vibes of really being in a win-win situation and collaborating with people. Finding ways to have both people happy, all parties happy. Even, fair, balanced. Aren't these things that's just silly that these things even have to be reminded and said out there? Wouldn't it be nice if it was just sort of like a taken for granted kind of thing? Like we always hear the phrase, oh, it's just business. Oh, that's just business. That's just, bad behavior. Oh, that's just business. That's just business. Well, it doesn't. Like, why? How did that ever become something that was okay? All right. So, I'll tell you the Kevin Allen synchronicity right now. Meeting Kevin Allen was like in a series. Kevin Allen is Mickey Dolenz' manager, and I had kept hearing about him through Yächtlëy Crëw. Some of the guys had met him, and we were talking about working with him, getting things rocking and rolling with him, and I guess he's come out to see us on quite a few occasions. So this is the first time I truly met him and got a chance to talk with him. And what's crazy about this, let's dial back the hands of time here. We're going to dial back the hands of time to, Madman comic by Mike Allred, one of my favorite comics of all time. Mike Allred is one of my favorite artists of all time. He and Ben Edlund. There are lots out there. Obviously, Salvador Dali. Charles Burns? Yeah. There are lots of them out there. So, Madman has always been, it's just always been a dream in my mind of this thing being made into a movie. And Robert Rodriguez has had the rights for a long time. He had the option to make it in a movie, and time just went on, and it was just never made into a movie. And so now Mike Allred has the rights again. So, throughout time, from tweeting to Mike Allred, he ended up following me on Twitter. And so we'll retweet each other and stuff. We'll communicate on Twitter. And he's a big Monkees fan, and he's a big Batman fan, and he'd been drawing Batman 1966. Mike Allred was drawing Batman 1966, versions of that TV show, but just doing comics of it. And this one time I did a tweet, something about like, oh man, it would just be a dream to see a crossover between the Monkees and Batman 1966. And I think I included Mickey Dolenz in that tweet when I tweeted it to Mike Allred. And Mike Allred said, oh, that would be great. And then shortly after that, I noticed that Mickey Dolenz was following Mike Allred. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if I had something to do with that. How cool would that be to be a bridge between these forces? Well, then shortly after that, Mike Allred ended up putting out a couple of pieces of art, two pieces, where the Monkees met Batman and Robin. And it's like a time portal. It's great. It's a great photo. So it's so cool that he happened to put that out there. Little after that, it was announced that the Monkees were going to be, eventually it was announced that the Monkees were going to put out a Christmas album for 2019. Or was it 2018? No, this is 2019. For 2018. And out came the cover art for it, and it was done by Mike Allred. On top of that, Mike Allred ended up doing they used his art in some of the videos for it. So I'm like, holy cow, dude, they're collaborating with Mike Allred. The Monkees, Mickey Dolenz is collaborating with Mike Allred right now. This is awesome. Okay, so there's that. Mickey Dolenz and Madman, one of my favorite comics. So we have that simmering on the side, okay? Now, let's scoot on over to Ben Edlund, my favorite other artist, who does The Tick. He did the Tick comic. And I had the opportunity of meeting both Mike Allred and Ben Edlund and showing those guys my art, and they liked my art. And it was really cool. This was back at the Chicago Comic Cons. Anyway, I digress. So Ben Edlund's comic book, it was funny because right around the time when I had met Ben Edlund, it was in the talks that they were going to make the Tick comic book into a cartoon. So eventually out came the cartoon. And Ben Edlund, I remember him telling me about how like the struggles that they had with the Tick, because they couldn't depict like fighting scenes in there with the Tick or anybody doing stuff that little kids could actually do. So they'd have to have the Tick pick up like a mailbox and throw it at the bad guys, or stuff that just little kids couldn't do because they didn't want to influence the populace. So anyway, out came the cartoon, the Tick cartoon, and then out came a live action version with Patrick Warburton playing the Tick, and then in 2016 out came an Amazon Prime series of the Tick, which is produced by Patrick Warburton, produced by Ben Edlund, the original creator of the comic, and a bunch of other fine folks. So, now, when that cartoon, the Tick cartoon, are you following me? When the Tick cartoon was out, the two superheroes are the Tick and Arthur. Okay, so Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees did the voice of Arthur. Mickey Dolenz did the voice of Arthur. So there's the connection with Mickey Dolenz and that. So, I had recently started watching the Tick live action show, and I thought to myself, this would be really cool to see if they have a Twitter account, and I'll become friends with the Tick TV show Twitter account. Well, I noticed that there was a Tick Twitter account in addition to a Twitter account of the writers. And I said, you guys, I would love to have you on Inspirado Projecto. I'd love to have you on K-Chung. This would be awesome. And a woman got back to me, one of the writers. She said, send me a private message. I'd like to learn more. Turns out, I might end up having writers from the Tick TV show. Wouldn't that be awesome if Ben Edlund, right there in the studio? And okay, so having now, let's get back to the Mike Allred and Mickey Dolenz aspect here. So while all that's being stirred up, I end up finding a photo of the cartoon Tick and Arthur sitting there in the chair, and I put up something where I tagged Mickey Dolenz in it. I said, oh my gosh, I remember when I first saw the Tick cartoon and I realized Mickey Dolenz did the voice, my mind exploded. So I recently tweeted that to Mickey Dolenz. He ended up loving it, retweeting it, and following me. So now I got Mickey Dolenz following me. I got Mike Allred following me. I got one of the writers, I'm not going to divulge her name yet, one of the writers of the Tick TV show following me. Now, I'm friends with Kevin Allen, manager of Mickey Dolenz. I've got sugar plums dancing in my head. As some of you might have already figured out, what my plan is here. I want to combine Mickey Dolenz, Mike Allred, and Ben Edlund and the Tick team, all those guys working together. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to get those dudes working together. That's my plan. I mean, So you right here, dear listener, are hearing how it's all unfolding. You're hearing how it's all unfolding and how I am just mystified by this. This is so important to me to document these miraculous moments in life, because later on in life, as these things evolve into my, manifest into my reality, I can say, oh my gosh, here is the breadcrumb trail. Here are those original intentions. Here are those thoughts that I shared. Here are those thoughts, because, heck, any of you who are listening, if it's just one or two of you, any of you happen to hear this, and any of you, and if you have ever had a dream in your life before that you would have loved to have seen happen in your life, certainly you can relate to this idea. Even though you don't know me, you can relate to this excitement that comes from making an idea, evolve, and the way in which the universe works with you to make that happen. So, ideally, by me documenting this, obviously, yes, for my future self, by documenting this, perhaps, number one, what I'm imagining is that my intention for these dreams are now also subliminally kind of your intention. And I don't know, unless you want. I'm just imagining, like, you're thinking, okay, so it's in your brain too. It's rattling in your brain, these ideas of these ideas happening. So that's kind of subconsciously in your brain. And then, so that power, those intentions, that good vibes, ends up bringing the good vibes to me faster, because it's like we're all combining our antenna together for this common purpose. It's like in church when they go, okay, let's all pray for this thing. That's the collective mindset. It's the various spectrums, the various kaleidoscopes of source of all that is, and the way that it expresses itself. And by enabling more and more aspects, more and more perspectives of good intentions, you can really, you really hit the turbo boost on that one. Really hit the turbo boost on that one. And then also simultaneously, the idea is that by you hearing how this is documented in my life, even if it seems like, the odds are completely stacked against me, and then when they do pan out, you can go, wow, that's crazy. Ideally, it'll serve as an example in your brain where completely outrageous and unexpected circumstances can happen more and more the more you invite them in, and the more and more that you're allowing for it to happen. And then the other thing is, perhaps by you hearing me use myself as a guinea pig and being willing to embarrass myself and dive into this stuff, ideally it'll something in there you'll recognize this spark within yourself where you go, aha, you know what, if this wise guy is doing it and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, if this wise guy is doing it, well, then I can do it. And then ideally what I love is when you experiment with it on your own and you come across crazy synchronicities, when you come across astounding dreams that just feel like prophecies, when you come across deja vu, which, by the way, I've been coming across a lot more of it lately, big time. It's crazy. I'm experiencing more deja vu in frequency, more frequency of deja vu than ever before. That's something that I don't know. I would have once in a while. Now it's happening more and more. It's really quite interesting. So I invite more and more of those deja vus to come through. So please call 561-203-9179. Call that hotline. We're in Jupiter. Call that hotline. Leave a message on the voicemail, and I'll include it in the broadcast. In fact, I'll include a message in this episode of people who have called in to the hotline and had stuff to say. So I'll add those to this episode. But share that stuff with me. If you got strange sounds that you hear out there in the night, share them with me. Heck, call up. This is another thing you could do. Send me email. InspiradoProjecto@gmail.com. Send me email. And I'll borrow that. I'll borrow the audio that you send me in that. Or heck, maybe you just want to type in a story. You can do that too. I'm pretty sure you can text 561-203-9179. I'm pretty sure you can text it. So do that too. Any ideas you got? Any of that crazy stuff? I want to hear it, and I want to share it. I want to give you credit for it. If you'd prefer to have an alias, that's fine too. Some people don't want, people to recognize who they are on there. A lot of times when you make an alias, it frees you up to really experiment, stretch farther than you expected, ever. So, all right, that's all for now. More later. Oh no. My goodness. It is a another beautiful day here in California. The wind is blowing. It's crispy. It's a crispy air. I'm not sure what season this is, but you can definitely smell the season, the way its own particularity. You can smell the particularity of the season. I was talking with Mad Shelley we're talking about schools and how it's interesting that with schools they teach you these particular bits of information and you're rewarded for knowing what you know about that limited amount of information, about that specific set of information. You are rewarded for knowing that stuff. Now, if you sort of step outside of that and, let's say learn more stuff that is conducive, just other bits of information, it's going to be sort of like shunned upon. However, if you stay within that limited capacity, it's like it's giving the illusion, they're giving this illusion that you got all this freedom, there's all this information, but really, you got all this information to study this limited scope of imagination. Just this, only this. We only want you to know this specific information inside and out. And we're going to do it at an age where, we think it sticks with you. And all of the examples that you come across at school will either have to do with ideas of us versus them, or ideas of war, or ideas of competition. If you look at all of the examples that are just beamed into your brain, it's those. If it was from a deeper perspective of all for one and one for all, wowzers. Just imagine the directions things would go in. Incredible. So the idea is to create that utopia wherever you go. That's why it's utopia. Why utopia? You want to have it a certain way in the world? Make it. Make it your way in your reality experience. Do what you can with what you got. Find ways of being as grateful as possible for what you got. Appreciative, grateful, willing to learn more and willing to expand upon what you learned earlier. Because as that happens, it just becomes one of those, it's like you're just magnetizing it. More of it, more and more of it. Magnetizing it. Universe just keeps giving you more and more examples of it. Boom, 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 boom. Just keeps giving it more. More and more to you. And then you can utilize it. You move first, universe moves with you. You go first. You go first. Let's say you got a friend who comes up with ideas, but they don't do anything with them. They say they got these ideas, They got these ideas, they want to do this, they want to do that, they envision this, but they don't do anything. And every time you're like, dude, if you move in that direction, I got your back. I'll be right there. I'll help you out with stuff. But you move first. Show me that you're serious about this dream. It's not my dream, it's your dream. I can guarantee if you move first, I will utilize whatever resources I got to move along with you. And as that happens, same thing with the universe. At least that's how I play with it. My relationship with the universe. Move, it moves. It's waiting. It cosigns on it. You move, it moves. It utilizes its resources, which is a whole bunch. All right, more later. We're going in to get some cat food now.
Here's your fun fact. David Lynch was offered the chance to direct Fast Times at Ridgemont High in 1982, but he turned it down, saying that the script was funny, but it just wasn't his thing. Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
It is 5/6. Today's Monday. Manic Monday. It's 10:46 a.m. My plan is to reach K-Chung Studios at 12. Who knows if you'll hear this podcast before or after the K-Chung episode. My listeners on Anchor will not be able to hear the K-Chung episode because I don't upload it to Anchor, because on a radio show I'm allowed to play and do and say whatever I want. So a lot of times I'll play music that's not, how should I put it? Anchor and iTunes, because Anchor goes out to iTunes and all these other places. They don't want you to put music in there, due to copyright issues and whatnot. So I'm not allowed to put my show on there. That's why on this podcast you will not hear, unless it's in the background. See, that's somehow I feel justified in allowing music to play. That's whatever. That's copyrighted. Is if it's in the background. If I'm at a bar or something and there it is way back in the background, or off in the distance and I'm talking. Obviously music in between segments. And like if you hear music that's obviously sounds produced, there's a good chance that I borrowed those little pieces, those little, electronic numbers. Those I'll sometimes kind of weave those in with a podcast or something, just to give it a little extra seasoning. However, if I'm out and about, I don't make it a point, I don't think, to include copyright songs in here. Anyway, that's what the deal is. So, if you ever decide that you want to hear any of the K-Chung episodes, what I do is every time I do a K-Chung episode, I send it to myself, and then I upload it to Mixcloud, Mixcloud. If you go to Mixcloud, that's where you can hear, in addition to all the podcasts, all of the radio K-Chung stuff. So if you go to mixcloud.com/Inspirado Projecto, that'll take you to that page. That'll take you right to that page. Mixcloud.com/Inspirado Projecto. I'll most likely be doing little Instagram promos for it, so you will not be able to escape from those. By the way, if you're not my friend yet on Instagram, I'd love to be your friend on Instagram. Go to Inspirado Projecto. If you know how to spell this podcast, you know how to spell that, and anything else relating to this podcast and or the K-Chung radio version of this. It just keeps growing, all kinds of directions. Before you know it, there'll be an Inspirado Projecto television channel. Showcasing. What I'm going to do is, when that time comes, I'm going to go back through all of the people that I had on the shows before and now interview them again with new information and then bring those folks on there. The radio show has been going on since 2016. I think, or 2015, the tail end of 2015, I think. And then the podcast grew out of that a year ago. Yeah. I think this podcast has been around about a year. March? Did we start it in February or March last year? Wow. So I like to attempt one podcast a day, if not usually every other day or something. But hey, who's counting? The more information I get down here, the more information I'll be able to have. I'll have for biography purposes, biography porpoises. Now that would be an interesting movie. The biography porpoises, and the porpoises' main purpose is to document humans. That'd be interesting. A movie where you got all the animals and they're documenting the humans. They're taking notes. They're noticing what we're doing. That is the things that we're doing. They're just noticing, taking notes on the things that we're doing that that place us in front of ourselves. They watch us making choices about what is going to become a barrier, what's going to become a blockade, what's going to be something that we just don't want to climb or to buzz our way through. It's usually what it is. There's that point that some folks get to where they're just like, okay, I'm tired. This isn't exciting anymore. They lose that excitement. They lose the excitement. But if you truly are following a calling and you want to see it to the end, you're going to see it to the end. So, in today's studio, these are the people we invited, and we'll see how many of them show up. Some of them might even show up people might even show up who I didn't even ask. Lee Booty, who we had on K Chung, she showed up just out of the ether when the wizard appeared. I didn't expect him to be on a show one day. The wizard just appeared, and he happened to have Lee with him. And I was asking them, hey, how the heck did you two meet? And she said, oh, the wizard was just looking up into the clouds, just contemplating life, and I appeared out of the ether. And I thought that was a phenomenal explanation. This is our kind of people. And she did some spoken word over electronic music. That was really cool. So she's going to be back in the studio. Mad Shelley, who you have recently heard in most likely in one of the recent episodes. He's been on quite a few of the episodes. He's going to be back in the... He's going to be back there today. Him and his friend Dominique. Dominique knows how to read tarot. So they'll be there. Lee Booty will be there. She's an artist too. So we'll have artists, we'll have writers, we'll have tarot card readers. Oh, and also my buddy Louis and his partner Sonia. Those are the two that I have documented in the podcast about going out to visit. Because we're working on a project together. So this will be great. So I'll have them all in the studio. Lewis I've had on K Chung before. I don't think I've had him on the podcast, but I've had him on in the studio before. I love the fact that podcasts are basically mobile radio stations. I think we've talked about this before. So I've got the in-studio version, where we got record players, cassette players, CD players, you know, all kinds of abilities to play music and sound, to now just soaking in the world as it's happening around us. It's so quite interesting. It's so interesting. All right, we're about to go down into the subway. I think I'm gonna turn this off here. More later. This is a fun little yeah, we were playing around with this idea, and Jenny and I, and then her friend goes, "Hey, that's a great song." So I'm just gonna play you this little riff. This is all we got so far. Enough said, 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 enough said. That's all we have so far. So I was thinking of like, okay, if that's the chorus, what's the so this is a E. Sing. Enough said, 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 enough said. So, what would that be? Huh. I don't know. Interesting. We'll work on it. We'll work on it.